I'm Cynthia, and I'm the host of the reality series, CPS the Horror Stories. I'm not an attorney or a social worker, but I'm a mom who's dealt with CPS because a few years ago they kidnapped my kids. After 2 years of fighting, I did get my kids back, and now I have this platform to allow. I apologize, I keep getting the hiccups at the beginning of every interview.
No worries.
No exaggerating. I have this platform to allow other parents to come on and share their truth, their horror story of dealing with CPS. So, Sheila, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? Is that how I say your name?
Yeah, Sheila. Yep.
Okay.
Hi, so I'm Sheila and I'm a mother. I'm a stay-at-home mother to my youngest child, Jackson.
You can
My
say
youngest
his name
son.
because he's with you.
Okay,
The ones that are not, we can't say
sure.
their names.
So I'm a full-time mom to my youngest son, who's almost 2, and I have 3 kids, and my other 2 were taken back in 2018 of February. When an incident happened and I was wrongly accused of harming my second born son, who was 16 months at the time. And they accused me of harming him. And they did this when I brought him to the ER after he got a hold of apparently, I think it was Tegretol or something like that he had in his hand when I woke up. I don't know what woke me up, and I tried explaining this when they did come to my home, and I felt overwhelmed and I was still processing everything. So they exaggerated in the reports that I have, saying that I was screaming and yelling at them, which was not at all what I was doing. And so I got really just to the point where I just could not be like around anyone at that point. And they were illegally in there. They had no warrant at all when they entered our home, and I did not know my rights. So
Let's, I want to pause really fast. So,
okay.
whose medication was it?
It was the man who's the father to my youngest son, who is a schizophrenic, and he's mentally ill as well. And they never investigated to see if he set me up or if he was involved in possibly poisoning my child.
Now, so he's the father of your youngest child.
Yes.
So were you guys together?
No, he actually raped me a day prior to the incident happening, and he wasn't living with me. And so my father believes he set up the entire thing to get those kids out of my care, to focus on playing upon my vulnerabilities, because he knew my baby's daddy, Brandon, can I say his name?
That's fine.
Okay, who passed away in 2017 of July. So I do own up to my poor judgment with him in allowing this sick individual in my life, when I should have been immediately jumping into therapy, and I did not do that. So I did make some mistakes with that in allowing him in my life and not knowing he was mentally ill. And so this was a few months after Brandon's funeral, and I had no intention on dating, nothing like that. And he was just playing upon my vulnerabilities. He was 14 years older than me, so he was using my baby's daddy's death to enter into my life and to just create havoc for me. And I totally take responsibility and own up to it, but I feel there's been tremendous injustices with everything that has occurred from the beginning when this all happened with my baby's daddy passing away.
So, tell me when the dad passed away.
He passed away July of 2017, July 23rd. And
July of 2017.
yeah.
And may I ask, let me just ask a couple questions really fast. When did the rape happen?
That happened a week, or no, not a week, a day prior to my middle child, who was 16 months old, who ingested the carbon. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I think another word for it is Tegretol, but it's also carbamazepine or something like that, that he had in his hand. And there's just so many questions about what happened that the police never investigated.
Okay,
They never.
hold on, because I just
Okay.
want to get on a
Sure.
timeline. So hang on. Okay, when did the medication, the drug thing happen?
That happened, I'd say, 6 months after Brandon's death. So he passed away in July. I started allowing Mr. Anderson. Can I say his last name?
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I allowed him around my kids and I'd say September of 2017. And then we went on a trip for the new year. And then when we got back from the trip, that's when things just, hell broke loose.
When you say we, you went on a trip with this man?
Yes, I did. I went to San Francisco. We crossed the Golden Gate for the new year to start a better year.
Let's talk about how you knew him. How did you?
I honestly didn't really know him that well. Like I said, I own up to my poor judgment, but he was not at all what they were telling him to be in court. They were saying that I just had really bad judgment with any guy, and that was not true. He was not a random guy that I would have around my kids. He knew Brandon, and apparently they were pretty close, and they were talking quite a bit right prior to his passing. So I was just trying to, at that point, I was just a wreck. I was grieving. I was just.
So Brandon knew him.
Yes, yeah, and apparently Brandon's mom was his preschool teacher, and she's actually the one who has my kids right now.
Okay, how long did Brandon know this man?
Since he was a child. That his brother and Brandon used to be like two peas in a pod. They used to be super close.
So yeah. My point of asking these questions is just to prove it's not like you met this man off the street.
Correct. Yes.
No, Brandon has known him. Okay. So then you're introduced to him, and now Brandon passes away. And because you've known him, you feel you can trust him, you keep him around.
Well, I had certain moments being around him that made me like go, what is wrong with this guy? Yeah. But it wasn't like serious. Like he wasn't hitting me. He wasn't like physically violent with me. He would just portray, and that's what schizophrenia is. And people like to label and put schizophrenics and mentally ill guys in a box and say, and not even know what that is. And so they would just say he's just like, I'm not at all like trying to be on his side or anything. I'm just pointing out something that's from a different viewpoint that they did not do in the courtroom, and that is there's a tendency to criminalize the mentally ill, and that's what they did. Just because he has a criminal history, they criminalized him, and mentally ill people tend to have a criminal past. And I had no idea of that until I got into the mess I did with CPS. So they didn't focus on him as much as they should have, and instead they were just picking on me and saying this and that. And
Well, why would they pick on him, so to speak?
no, they were picking on me. They would not even question.
That's what I'm saying.
Him.
Why would they question him? He's not.
No, they believed everything he said, even the fact that he was mentally ill. Like, he insisted on going to the hospital with me when I was in the state I was in, when I was just completely focused on Casey, on my son's well-being, who ingested the medication. He was 16 months old. I was really concerned. And
Let's go
okay.
over that day. Let's go to the day that he is. Somebody with you?
No, I'm just I just have sometimes hard time with talking a lot.
Okay.
So I'm just looking out my window. So no one's here.
Okay. So let's go to the day that he ingested the medication. You said that you were taking a nap.
It was the morning, so it was the day after he raped me. So we went to see a movie. My kids were being babysat by my uncle. We went to go see a movie. We were just friends. I had no interest in dating him. We were not dating. He and I saw a movie, and it was pretty late. And his parents lived in Santa Clarita, where he lived. So I didn't want to drive all the way there to take him back home. So I said, "Oh, well, you can sleep in on my couch, and I'll just take you home, or you can go home tomorrow." And what happened was my door was unlocked, and I just wake up the next morning, and I feel really distraught and confused, and like something was off. And I was totally unconscious. I don't remember any memory of anything that happened. And I even asked him if he raped me. And at first he was denying it, and then he admitted to it. And then I got really upset. My kids were quite young at that time, and so I just was like, okay, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Hold on, were the kids with you?
No, they were in another room, and they were
back to recording. So
my youngest. Oh wait. Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask you questions. Okay.
Okay.
So when you went to the movies, where were the kids?
They were with family members. My uncle had them for a few hours.
And so when you went home, you picked them up and they went home with you?
They were already sleeping when I got home, so I just was so tired. I forgot to lock my door. I didn't even think that I would need to.
But I'm saying, where were the boys?
Oh, they were sleeping in the room.
How did they get home? Was somebody watching them at your house?
Yeah. Yes, they were here at my uncle's house, and they were sleeping when I got home.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
Okay.
So they were with you, though.
At the movie, no.
No. When you got home, they were with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so you went to bed, and the friend went to bed on the couch.
Yeah, but then apparently, I don't know if I got drugged. I don't know what. I was not under the influence. I don't drink. I don't know what happened, but he drugged me or something. I had no memory of anything that happened. I just woke up very confused and just super wet down there and just very just sad. I just didn't know what happened. That never has happened to me before, and I was just really upset, and I just had this knowing that he raped me. So I didn't do what I should have done. I didn't go immediately and report it because I was just so already like dealing with Brandon's passing and my 2 children in my care. So I didn't go and report it right away. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now, when you woke up, you said that your little one, because he was the little one at that time.
Yes, this was the next day. So once I kicked him out and told him he couldn't come back, he wasn't welcome at our house.
What made you kick him out? Was it what you woke up to, the way you felt?
Well, because he most definitely raped me. He even admitted to it, and then he would keep denying it.
When did he admit to doing it?
When I was keep prompting, I think that's the word, prompting him. I was as soon as I woke up, I was keep prompting him and asking him if he did anything, and he was keep saying no, I didn't, and then he admitted to it.
What was he saying?
He's like, I'm sorry, I was being stupid, I shouldn't have done what I did, and just something like that. And I just got so upset. I was so upset. At that point, I was screaming and crying, and I just, my uncle came out of his room, and he said, you have to go. You have to get out of here. And he didn't live there, and he never even came to our house. So he didn't, I don't think he intended on leaving. So, yeah, he was just causing a lot more stress for me and trauma that I was already going through, because at that point things just shifted with everything as far as having him around or in my life, because I did not at all want to be involved sexually with anyone. And I was with Brandon for almost 7 years, and I was just not at that point where I wanted to be with someone, especially like that, who was like a lot older than me and knew Brandon. So it was not right what happened, but I just wish that I reported it right away, because I didn't. And so when I did finally report it, the police officer was like, well, and this was once my kids were taken, they're like, well, why didn't you report this? And I told them, because I was dealing with so much other stuff that I thought was more important, and that was my kids. Because at that point, when we came back from our trip, Xavier had an ear infection, because apparently it runs on his father's side. And so he had an ear infection, and I was working on regaining the weight he lost. He just lost a little bit of weight because he stopped eating and he was just on liquids. And the stuff that the doctor put him on messed up his gut. So I was trying to work that up, and my uncle's a scientist and knows a lot of stuff like that. So he was helping. And we were giving him probiotics. We were gaining his weight back. He was doing better. And we were in the process of that when he was taken. So they used that against me as well when they couldn't use the false arrest. So, and that was another trauma when I was in jail. And that's a whole nother story. The traumatic things that I had to go through in jail. And I was only there for 7 days, and it felt like a lifetime. It was just hell because I was with real criminals. I was with these horrible females that were just like nothing I've ever seen ever in my life.
Well,
because
let's go back to how you got there.
Sure.
So you woke up, you didn't go to the police or the hospital or anything right away.
Okay, well, wait a minute. So the rape happened a day prior. So once we kicked him out, he apparently, I don't know, I can't quite recall, but I think he might have left. No, now I'm remembering correctly. I made sure he had every single thing he brought in his bag with him, so he would have no excuse to come back. So I made sure everything was in his bag because he's like the type of guy who's not really, he's kind of like, he has his things everywhere. So he's just like not someone that is good with keeping his stuff in one place. So I made sure he had everything in his bag, and I said he could not come back. And then the day after I wake up, something woke me up. I don't know. I think it was him because when I looked over, he was walking around in our house. And Casey was on my side because I co-sleep. So he was with me on my bed, and he was holding a prescription bottle. And I immediately like took the bottle from him, and I jumped out of bed. I got my uncle, and I was screaming. I was in shock, and then Peter was there, and it was like the first reaction I had is, oh God, what are you doing here? But the last thing that crossed my mind was questioning him at that point because I was so focused on my son. So this is why I believe, and my father believes after knowing my story, why he believes he set me up and how he had the intelligence to do this, because he didn't want the kids with me because he wanted to continue to play upon my vulnerabilities, and he wanted me to marry him. Actually, I didn't mention this. He wanted me to marry him a week prior to this happening. He tried to take me to the place to get him to marry him, and I refused because I had my kids with me and they were keeping me in check, and I'm like, no, my kids can.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, what did your parents think of this man? Did they like him?
They don't like him.
No, they don't.
No, my mom, no. And my dad, no.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have all the evidence too. Like I even have like all, cause like I've been doing so well. He's been out of my life for more than a year now. He's still in jail because of an incident that happened last October. He apparently came by my house, and I was, by the grace of God, not here. I was away with Jackson, and apparently an incident happened with him and my brother, and he beat up my brother pretty bad. Yeah. And he thought I was in the house, and he's like telling the cops that, oh, my brother was guard dogging me and keeping him away from his woman and all this nonsense. So he's in jail still because of that. And I have no communication with him whatsoever, but I will say this. I keep all the letters he sends me. I keep them all for record because the police are not doing their job. he should not be sending me letters. And the police should be investigating this, and they are failing big time. They didn't even investigate when he set me up. Well, I believe he set me up, but do you know what? The children's attorney called it a conspiracy theory. She said, oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. And she would laugh when my father would bring it up in court and say that about Peter. But one thing I will also mention is the children's attorney was long-term friends with the foster mother. And so that's why I believe I never got unsupervised visits with my children. Even when I earned them, I never got them.
Okay, let's try to stay on track and go back.
Okay.
I know there's a lot to say.
Yeah, I jumped from one point to the other, but I will stay focused. So back to that day that my son ingested the meds. I don't know how many okay.
So hold on. So you went to the movies. Can we just pick a day of the week that you went to the movies?
Okay, well,
no matter what day, just give me a day.
It was around Valentine's Day.
No, I don't care like the month. I'm saying
okay.
day of the week.
Thursday.
So Thursday you go to the movies.
Yeah.
And Thursday, Bob spends the night.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And Thursday night or early Friday morning, we don't really know what time, Bob rapes you.
Yes. And I had no memory of anything. It wasn't like I was woken up and I consented. Mm-hmm. I had no memory.
Makes me so sad. Like, just, it's,
yeah.
I'm really sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. Here, I'm just gonna grab. Oh. Okay. I just wanted to grab my one kitten that came up.
No worries.
She's a scaredy cat.
Okay.
So
the
next day is when CPS got involved.
So Saturday or Friday?
Friday.
Okay.
The day after.
I still don't understand how or when the whole pill thing happened. Friday morning?
Yes. Yeah, it was 8 a.m. in the morning, and I actually have that pretty refreshed because I've been reviewing everything because I have everything in documentation. I have all the books. So
Right.
So yeah, it was 8 a.m. in the morning, and I wake up. Something woke me up. I believe it was him. I believe he actually tried waking me up. I don't know actually, but I honestly do think he set me up. But all I know is something woke me up. I woke up, and at first I thought that by the grace of God, I just was woken up by something heavenly that woke me up to be able to save my son. And I was like, oh my God, I saved my son. And then it was not like that when I got to the hospital. They were like automatically accusing me of harming him. And I did not expect that.
What do you mean they were accusing you? Can you explain?
Yes.
So hold on. So you woke up at 8 a.m. and how did you get woken up?
Well, I don't know. I think I felt like, honestly, I think it was because in my room doing something. I felt some presence. I wasn't sure. I was not aware of what was happening.
This is that man.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Let's try not to say names.
And Jackson's father, but Jackson's not from the rape. So that was what happened.
Hold on.
He was, okay.
We're saying names.
Jackson? Oh, he's the son I have in my care. Yeah.
Okay. So that's let's just say Bob for right now.
Okay.
Bob,
So,
you felt something going on, so your body wakes up.
yes. Amber was still sleeping. He was sleeping through everything, even when I took my son to the hospital. So my oldest son, he stayed home. So I ended up, so what happened?
Hold on, because you're going everywhere. Hang on. Take a breath. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You wake up for whatever reason.
And I see
Where? Don't say names.
Oh, okay. So I wake up and I look over and my son, my 16-month-old, is propped up, which I thought was a little odd because he was sleeping next to me and he's just like sitting upright by me at that point. And he's holding a bottle of Bob's meds.
But how is he propped up?
He was just sitting upright. And what doesn't make sense is they were scattered everywhere. And my son was too little to get off the bed. And like I didn't have like, I'm not like I've always co-slept with my kids. I had no issue with that. They would never fall off the bed. So he couldn't at that age get off the bed and do that and then get back on the bed.
And do what? Scatter the pills?
Yes. So I thought that, well, actually, I didn't think that at first because I was just so caught up in making sure my son was okay. But later on, I questioned this.
Okay, hold on. Where was the bottle originally?
That is why I believe Peter set me up Bob, because for one, there was no medication in my room. I don't have prescription medication in our home, period. Like I've always grown up with parents who were into holistic ways of living. We never believed in having medication for any reason. We always believed in natural remedies for when you get sick, so we never had medication in our home. And the fact that this bottle was like on the bed was just so bizarre because I didn't put it there. I made sure I gathered all of his belongings, all his prescription medication, and put it in his bag when he left the day prior, when we told him to go. So
what do you mean the day prior?
The day prior to the incident happening with my son ingesting the medication, we kicked him out with his stuff.
Hold on, because I thought that's what we were talking about was your son with the meds.
Yes, yeah.
So Thursday you went to the movies. Friday morning you woke up, and that's the day he had the pills, and that's the day he ingested them, correct?
Thursday, yes. Thursday night we went to the movies and wait, no. Okay. Thursday night, how about Wednesday? So Wednesday we went to the movies. Wednesday night we went to the movies. Thursday morning the rape, and then the next morning after is when the incident happened with my son. So
why? That's where I'm confused, because you said that you kicked Bob out.
But he broke in.
Okay, you didn't mention that part.
Yes, he broke in. He was wandering around our house while we were all sleeping.
Okay,
And Casey was awake. And this is also, when you get to know more about him, it makes sense because he had jealousy issues of that boy in particular.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Makes sense now?
Okay, I'm gonna repeat it again.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do this again. Wednesday, you go to the movies with Bob.
Mhm.
Wednesday night, he spends the night. Wednesday night.
There's
Let me
that
finish.
incident happened.
Hold
Yep,
on, let me
go ahead.
finish. Okay. Wednesday, you go to the movies,
Mhm.
and it was in the evening.
Yes.
Bob spends the night, and he rapes you
Yes, the same night. Yeah.
as the movies.
Or it could have been like really early in the morning. I don't know.
Right, but it
Yeah.
was over that. Okay. Thursday morning, you wake up and you kick him out.
Yes. After I find out what happened, I kick him out. Well, I get upset and I'm like screaming and really I'm just so distraught and upset. And my uncle kicks him out.
And you make sure that when he goes, he has everything with him, so there's no need for him to come back.
Yes, I make sure everything is packed. And it wasn't a lot. He just had like his prescription medication and like his backpack because he didn't live with me. But this is where this is important though, because when the incident with my son happens the next morning, when he's walking around our house and he broke in, he insisted on going to the hospital while I'm like, oh my God, when he knew, like, this is why I believe you set me up, because it's almost as if
hospital with what? For what?
With me, with my son. And I was like, oh my God, why are you here? But I was
so I'm gonna kind of repeat again. Hear me
okay.
out, just because we keep getting on different pages.
Yeah, I'm staying on track. I just wanted to just let you know about my history with having a fractured back, and then also I can't believe, I just want things in chronological order, even prior to the rape. We were in a bad accident, so that was already on his, like, in the log or whatever it's called at the hospital. Like, they already had on record us being admitted from a car accident. A drunk driver hit us, and this was when the Thomas fire happened. So it was pretty chaotic around that time with the fires here. And not only that, I was trying to get out of town while I was gonna drop him off at his mom's house in Santa Clarita on my way out of town, because I wanted my kids to breathe fresher air. And we got hit, and a drunk driver hit us. And that's how I was able to get my kids where they are now. But I honestly think that Brandon's brother and his boyfriend used my money just to get the kids, and now they don't want anything to do with me. So I'm pretty heartbroken about that, because I really care genuinely about their future, and I know that they miss me. I honestly think that my son that was the one who ingested the medication, I think he's being more brainwashed, and he's the one that they actually wanted, because my oldest son is not biologically related to Brandon. He was from my ex that I knew prior to even Brandon in high school, and he's just not, he's like a deadbeat father. He's not in the picture at all. He never was, but his parents were. So they lived in Goleta that he could have been with when they originally took him, and they didn't need to. And in a matter of fact, they shouldn't have even had me arrested, because they had no proof, and I didn't do anything. And I was still nursing him. I wanted to just, my plan was to go back to my house, have a breather, give my older son a snack, have some tea, and then get back to the hospital and be by my son's side. And and nurse someone I could have the chance. And instead I was locked up in jail with real felons who did awful things and who were committing crimes in jail. And I don't know if I should talk too much about that story alone in jail, but it was horrific. The things I saw being done in jail and the guards actually covering up crimes was unbelievable. Because anyone who would come to Santa Barbara would be like, wow, this is a beautiful place. And they have no idea what happens behind closed doors. No idea. No idea what happens.
Yeah. A lot of them are like that.
Yeah, I agree. But just when it happens to you and your kids, it's even worse. Yeah, because sometimes you don't know unless you go through it. And then when you do, it's not the same again. Right. So I to this day still have to deal with that. Sometimes I can't even like walk around how I used to. Like I used to go and walk all the time with my kids with Brandon, and I can't take Jackson and do that anymore. If I want to go on walks, I have to go like somewhere different because it triggers traumas. Not only because of doing that with Brandon, but because of what I was put through. So back to the hospital. That was just, I should have known that was gonna happen. But like any good mother, I wasn't worried about them telling or saying or accusing me of anything because I was being a good mom. I was doing everything a good mom would do in my situation, considering the dynamics with the mentally ill, schizophrenic, and possibly setting it up. I'm not accusing him, but it's very questionable because of the fact that he broke in. He owned the medication and the fact that he had jealousy issues with, and just so many factors. But what I wanted to focus on was not that too much, but just like the fact that that is how they got my kids. And they used that false arrest, and then in the papers, they say other things on reasons why they took them, because they had to quickly write that up once I got out of jail, because they thought that they were gonna win with that, and that I actually harmed my son, and that I was gonna be there forever. And the police knew what I would be put through. They were laughing at me when I was being first admitted to the jail. They were laughing at me, and they're like, good luck getting bailed out, because they gave me such a high charge when it wasn't even really my charge. I was just there for resisting arrest. So it's unbelievable. It really is. And so I was there for a week. And then when I was to go to court, because there was a holiday, I was in jail when there was a holiday, so it took longer to go to court. But by the grace of God, I got out of the main cell where like 14 other girls stayed, and they were just awful. So I got out of it.
I've never been to jail, but hold on, because I want to go back. Okay. And then get to the jail part, okay?
Okay. So, oh, right, at the hospital. Right. So.
No, we're not even at the hospital yet, because we still have not been able to get on the same timeline.
Okay. All right. So, the movie.
Let me repeat.
Okay.
Okay. So Wednesday you go to the movies.
Yeah.
Wednesday night he stays the night.
Yeah.
Between Wednesday and Thursday morning, he does that thing to you. He does that stuff to you.
Yeah.
Thursday morning. You wake up.
Yep.
You kidnap.
I kicked him out. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're on Friday.
And Friday is
Hold
when...
on, let me finish, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Friday morning, you wake up to your son propped up next to you with the medication in his hands and all over the place.
Yeah, and I scream. I immediately, once I'm aware that he has the bottle in his hand, I scream and I immediately get help. I rush to my uncle's room, and that's when Peter, I know, in the house. And of course, I'm not immature, and I'm a good mom, so I don't want to just waste time fighting and wondering why he's in our house. I want to focus on my son.
Right. So when you saw your son, was he when you say propped up, and was he like alert and acting normal, or
yeah, but not really. Like, it was a very eerie type feeling I got vibe that morning. Like, something felt off. Something felt so off with just the fact that Peter was in our house. It was just really, something was not right. Something was not right. But yeah, he was up, and that was the strange part. Like, I don't know, but I think that he somehow came in my room when I was still sleeping and woke my son up and gave it to him. And then he came back in to try to get me to wake up. Because I don't know, but I think he was just trying to get my kids out of my care, but he wasn't trying to like kill my kid. But I don't know, because he's mentally ill. So who knows?
now? Okay, so you've got this guy in your house. You know for a fact you didn't leave his medication when you packed up his stuff. So it makes sense that him being there most likely gave him to your son.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, even if it was like because he is careless with his stuff, but there's no way he would have had one just carelessly underneath a blanket when he wasn't even like he wasn't even like, besides for the rape, he wasn't like, he would not have his stuff on the bed, especially with prescription bottles. So no. And the fact that it's the kind that's locked, that's another thing that I totally forgot to point out, is it was like, it wasn't screwed on, or did he unscrew it? Because there's no way my son could have unscrewed it.
What kind of bottle was it?
It's like the orange type bottle with the safety lid. So it was that type of bottle.
So like this?
Yes.
So yeah, you have to push down.
Orange.
You have to push down and then twist.
Yep.
It's not where you push the lid. Okay.
Yeah. So
I've had a baby get into my medication bottle before like that.
Well, yeah, it makes sense, because I mean, it could have been just not screwed on all the way. It could have been like under a blanket and I just didn't see it. But that still doesn't make sense, because how did they get all over the couch by my bed? Because when the officers came after he was rushed to the hospital and they were investigating and looking in the room, they just saw all the pills on the floor and they're like, oh my God, no kid can be safe here. And they took my other kid. And it's like, they didn't even investigate or question the one who owned the medication. Like, how did the pills get on the floor? Because they were not on the floor the day prior. So
when you found him, you went and got your uncle. Did you call 911?
No. See, that's because I got so, I don't know, like, I'm not a morning person. I was traumatized already. And then another trauma, and I'm just like, oh my God, I have to.
Who called 911?
I took him there. I took him to the hospital. I rushed him there. But the thing that doesn't make sense is once we were there, Bob was talking to the officers, and apparently he
Where?
was saying like lies to them. He was saying, "Oh, we waited 2 hours before we took him." If that was true, my son would have been.
Hold on. Where was Bob?
He insisted on going with me to the hospital,
Okay.
and at that point,
Well, why did you let Bob go after he did what he did?
I know I didn't want to, but with the fact that the rape happened and I was in shock because he wasn't even supposed to be there, I wasn't doing things that I would have typically have done.
Yeah.
Because of everything, and that's what they didn't understand. That's what CPS didn't understand. That I didn't do anything that I would have typically done because of the situation I was put in, and just being on that mom mode, like, oh my God, number one priority is the safety of Casey, of my son. So that's what I did. And when you're in that type of situation, it's.
I get it. So he goes, who drove to the hospital?
I drove, and then things just got off once we got there.
Hold on. Let's just take one question at a time.
Okay.
So you drove to the hospital, and it was you, Bob, and your son.
Yeah.
Where did the other son stay?
He was with my uncle at my uncle's house.
Okay. And you go to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to know how many pills were ingested?
That is what they were asking me, and what happened was once I screamed and I took the bottle, I knew he ingested some. I did not know how many. But as we were going to the hospital, he was becoming drowsy, so I knew it was more than.
I want to look up the medication really fast.
Okay.
Tell me again.
It's I don't have the
It's okay.
exact.
Just go ahead and try.
Okay, CARBEMPEZINE, something like that.
Wait, hold on. It's way too fast. CAR.
EMZIPINE, something like that. And in parentheses, they put Tegretol in the papers. So
I found it.
So it's like a mood balance. I don't know. I don't take prescriptions.
It treats seizures, nerve pain, and bipolar.
Okay, yeah, mood swings or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's what he had, and that's what my son ingested. Okay. I don't know how many, but it was apparently a pretty high amount. But he got lucky, and it wasn't. He was in the ICU, but he ended up being fine. So it made it even more traumatic for the mother me because I wasn't there through it. I didn't get to stay by his side like I wanted to.
Yeah. Well, so it is a medication that children can take. So that's better.
Yeah.
Than, but the whole thing is scary, period. So
yeah, very. Yeah.
So you get to the hospital, you get to the ER, and you tell them my son got into a medication. I'm sure they took you right back, right?
Yes, they took us immediately back, but it just got very strange because Bob and I just felt so uncomfortable with him there. And then he was like, and then when we were in ICU, my son was in like a crib like thing with and I helped get like some like I was even helping the nurses.
Right.
And they were like, in the reports, they say, oh, she had a flat effect. She didn't seem like she was concerned at all. And like every mom handles situations differently. And it's just so absurd that they would do that to a mother like that and just start like questioning her and accusing her and It's just it's ridiculous. Like, it's like a Nazi camp at this hospital. It really is. They're just horrible. The staff, everyone. It's just it, and then they called CPS, and then the officer that came in, he was talking to Bob first outside, and then he comes in, and then he just automatically, I don't know what Bob said.
Pause one moment, because I wanna just a moment. Okay, so you go in.
Yeah.
Does the nurse or they take you right in? How they don't just take you right to the ICU, right? You're in the ER for
a
while. When do you start getting
something on his wrist?
When do you start getting questioned?
I don't really know. It's a blur. I just remember what really stands out is after I helped the nurses, I remember
what?
Huh?
Help them with what?
Put something on my son's wrist to get an IV or something, liquids or something. I don't know what it is. IV. Yeah, so I helped with that, and at that point it was just, oh my god, it was really, he was it was hard seeing him like that. And then the fact that Peter was like holding him and acting like he cared, and it was just like, oh my god. And so the hospital got it all wrong. They thought that like we were together, so they thought he was my boyfriend. We came there together as a couple, and he was abusive, and that was not the case. He did not live with me, and apparently he was telling the staff that he lived with me, that he was living at my uncle's for 3 months prior to this happening, and that did not happen. So I don't know why he would do that. Why would he lie? Why would he say that? Why would he say we waited 2 hours? Why would he
he told who that you waited 2 hours?
He told the officers, he told the staff there. He even told the staff that he was just there recently because he tried committing suicide.
Okay, hold on. When did the officers come in? When did the officers?
Okay, so after I helped the nurse out, that's when he had to go upstairs to the ICU, and that's when things kind of got a bit more smoother. I could start breathing, and there's a chair for me to sit and be by his side, and the nurse was a lot nicer, and I was telling her, since things were calming down and he seemed like he was going to be okay, I didn't want to leave him, but I wanted to definitely get out of the hospital and get some fresh air and check on my older son, who was 3, and take him to the park. And then I had this whole plan, and then I planned on just going there and being by his side until he was out, because at that point it sounded like he was going to be fine. And so I was preparing to stay the night with him, and that never happened.
So hold on, I'm confused. So when he got brought up to the ICU, that's when you decided to like take a break and leave the hospital?
Well, I was telling the nurse, I was letting her know that I was going to do that, because it seemed like everything was
good, right?
Good. And then that's when because was there and all of that, they were concerned, and they called CPS. And
wait. What do you mean? Because he was there, they were concerned?
I don't know. They seemed like some of the nurses were questioning like my demeanor, and they don't know me personally. They don't know how I am in situations like that. So,
okay, but why were they concerned about him being there?
Well, I'm just guessing from their perspective on why they called CPS. If I were to just be in their perspective and see things from their eyes without knowing everything, I'm not surprised that they called CPS, because for one, it was serious. My son could have been hurt, or I don't even want to think of what else could have happened, but it was pretty serious. And
Right.
the fact that Bob was there did not help. And the fact that he was saying he was just there because he tried committing suicide was even worse. And then the fact that he was lying, and God only knows everything he was saying to the cops, but he was like getting on their side. And like, it was almost as if he set me up to get the police to be just thinking that it was me, that I harmed my son, and not even question the mentally ill man not on the medication. And it was just absurd. But I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was just worrying about my son, and I wanted to be with my other son. And so I told the nurse I planned on leaving and coming back, and she's like, okay, we got it under control. He's doing good. We're gonna keep monitoring him. And
you told the nurse that.
Yeah.
Had CPS already been called?
I believe so. And that's when a lady came in, and she was the one who started all of this mess. I won't say her name, but she was Miss Queen Bee up high on their chart, and she did this all. She set this all in motion, and there was nothing I could do.
She was probably a social worker for the hospital.
Yeah. And she apparently, well, actually, I won't go there, but there were some people in my parenting class that I went to that apparently got their kids taken from the same social worker around the same time that I got mine taken. So I thought that was a little crazy, but anywho, so that's when things got really hard for me, because I don't do well in situations like that, especially with authority figures. And I come off to be like under the influence of something because of my demeanor sometimes. When I was little, I was shy. I wasn't really good looking people in the eyes, and they thought something was wrong with me. And you know, I don't do drugs. Sometimes I have some caffeine for energy, but typically I have like the natural type of energy drinks and stuff to have natural energy. I don't take medication. I don't do drugs. I've never, and that's one thing actually stayed and stuck with me, because he liked that about me. He didn't want to date someone that would drink or smoke. So that's like a quality he admired with me. And so they didn't know me. They accused me of being under the influence, and that's what they have in the papers. She seems or appears to be under the influence of an unknown substance. And I'm like, oh my God. When I started reading all this after I got out of jail, it was crazy. I had no idea what I was going to be put through. And I was put through hell. And I got through that.